Howdy! This is Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert, a NASCAR and racing podcast. Live free or die. That's what NASCAR would be saying as they head to the Granite State to run at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Trucks would be ready to rumble for the last regular season race before the chase starts in Bristol. Who would take the final playoff spot for the trucks? Cup Series is in their second to last regular season race before their season finale in Daytona the following weekend. Cup Series will be running up north. Ryan Blaney looks to go back-to-back as Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe, and the field look to stop him. Yellow flag, green flag, discussions with Dave, NASCAR history time, paint scheme of the week, tire diaries, predictions for Daytona, plus so much more on this episode of Splash of Gas. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Now for the Truck Series recap. Trucks would be ready to fire off Saturday in New Hampshire, which would be the final regular season race of the season. As we mentioned last episode, when we went over the standings, last of the playoff 10 would be up for grabs, the final spot. Tyler Ankrum would have a slim lead over Stuart Friesen and Jake Garcia, who would take the final spot. Lane Riggs would be the fastest in qualifying, followed, of course, by second in the standings, Caden Honeycutt. Two yellows early would then see Riggs and Connor Zilisch restart on lap 19. Riggs leads again, but 17 laps later, Zilisch gets by Riggs for the lead and wins stage 1. After taking two tires and getting off pit road first, Jake Garcia then laid Riggs restart. After a yellow on lap 110, Garcia and now Chandler Smith bring the field back to green. Smith clears for the lead, but 2 laps later, Zilisch again passes him for the front spot, and Connor Zilisch wins stage 2. As we saw, Garcia was trying to make a push towards the front. Stuart Friesen would copy that and take 2 tires as well and start up front for the last and final stage. After having brake issues, Tyler Ankrum would be in the middle of the pack, holding on to a small margin. Who would take the win and the final playoff spot in the chase? After 2 early yellows, Riggs and Giovanni Ruggiero would start up front. Riggs to the lead. Friesen 3rd, Ankrum 29th, and Garcia 18th. As the laps counted down, Riggs would continue to lead. In the closing lap, a hard crash for the youngster, Gavin Bushell, would push the race into overtime. Friesen and Ankrum would be tied for points going into the overtime. Plus, Jake Garcia is 1 point behind them. Who would take the final playoff spot? Was down to a 2-lap shootout overtime. First overtime restart, they stack up. They crash again. Yellow comes right out. Pushes that right into the second overtime. Riggs, alongside teammate Chandler Smith, would fire off for the final time of the 2026 regular season for the Truck Series. Riggs gets the jump and clears Smith, and he will go on to win in New Hampshire. Congratulations to Lane Riggs and that team. Now for trivia question time. This episode's question is, the second race at Daytona for a long time used to be the July 4th weekend race, and used to be on July 4th for a long time. This week's question is, the first time that NASCAR raced on the July 4th weekend, what track was it hosted at? Hint, if you're a Northeasterner, it's upstate. Answer coming at the end. Now for a quick run-through of the Calypso 100 at the Illinois State Fairgrounds. On the 1-mile dirt track they have out there, for the ARCA Series. For a little while, for a long while, NASCAR at least had one of their major series, trucks, O'Reilly, Cup, run on a dirt surface. And yes, it was 3 years, they ran at Bristol for a little while, and they stopped that, and they go back for the pavement for both of those races out there in Tennessee. For some duration, you had the trucks running at Knoxville, running at Eldora on the dirt. But right now, none of the 3 major touring series race on dirt. ARCA still does. And that's at the 1 mile track, as mentioned, at the Illinois State Fairgrounds. Max Reeves will be the fastest in qualifying. Start there from the lead in the Joe Gibbs 18 equipment. Taylor Reimer, Carson Brown would all be in the mix. Gavin Bushell would be leading late in the race. Then Reeves would make some contact with him, spinning Bushell out. Reeves would go on to win the race. Reeves would be booed in victory lane. Gavin Bushell would not like that and have some words for him. We'll see how that plays in years to come. Does Bushell hold that on Reeves? Maybe in some more ARCA and Truck Series starts to come? We'll find that out. Now, mods recap from New Hampshire. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Series would be in action out in New Hampshire for one of their biggest races of the year. In the end, John McKennedy would win the checkered flag in a pivotal win in his career. With just 2 laps to go coming to the restart, McKennedy, who's been up front at New Hampshire before, knew he had to prove it coming to the checkered flag, and he did just that. McKennedy would get his first win out in New Hampshire in the Whelen Modifieds, which would be his 3rd win on the tour in 2026. Now for the Cup Series recap from New Hampshire. Cup Series will be ready for action up north Sunday afternoon. Tyler Reddick will be the fastest in qualifying and sit on the pole. Him and Josh Berry bring the field to green. There's a rain delay at the beginning of the race. Before they even get going, it takes about an hour for them to go green. They start on wet weather tires. Competition yellow on lap 40 to switch to the racing slicks. Then again on lap 53 as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. spins. Shane Van Gisbergen and William Byron restart with 14 laps left in stage 1. Kyle Larson takes over the lead a lap later and wins stage 1. Ryan Preece and Zane Smith restart for the middle stage. 37 laps left in stage 2. Ryan Blaney passes Josh Berry for the lead and goes on to win stage 2. Bubba Wallace and Josh Berry restart for the 3rd and final stage. After 3 yellows, the final restart occurs with 62 laps to go. Blaney and Chase Briscoe restart. Blaney again to the lead. Bubba Wallace now to 2nd. 5 laps remaining. Wallace is less than half a second behind Blaney. Could he catch him? He would get close, but not in the end. Ryan Blaney wins again out in New Hampshire. Quick look back at the predictions we made. ARCA went with Taylor Reimer out on the dirt. She was running up front most of the night, but ends up 4th. Modifieds went with Justin Bonsignor. He finishes 24th. Truck Series tapped Caden Honeycutt, brings it home 3rd. Cup Series, Chase Briscoe was up front towards the end of the race, but just not his day. In the end, he finishes 26th. Yellow flag, green flag, ARCA. Isaac Kitzmiller, the youngster, finishes P2. Green flag, New Hampshire Modifieds. John McKennedy, the veteran on the Modified Tour, finally gets that big sought-after New Hampshire win. Yellow flag, Truck Series. Tough bullet to bite for both Jake Garcia and Stuart Friesen as they each fall short of missing the chase. Truck Series green flag. By the skin of his teeth, Tyler Ankrum gets the 10th and final spot into the chase, but the guy with all the momentum, that's Lane Riggs. Yellow flag, Cup. 3 tough races in a row for a guy that was contending for a spot in the chase up until that point, and that's the 43 of Eric Jones. He finishes 33rd out in New Hampshire. Green Flag Cup Series, Team Penske. They are heating up at the right time. Two of their drivers, Logano and Ryan Blaney, have won 4 of the last 6 races. Now for discussions with Dave, Part 1. Starting with the Truck Series playoffs. Great battle racing in New Hampshire with that final chase spot on the line going into 2 overtimes. Friesen and Tyler Ankrum tied for points going into the first overtime. Truly exhilarating. But here are the power rankings that I have for the 10 chase drivers right now. First, gotta be Lane Riggs. Guy's been so dominant. Regular season champion. Last week's winner. And right behind Riggs, I have in my power rankings, is his teammate Chandler Smith, who finished second out in New Hampshire. The 34 and 38 truck, I just think is a solid 1-2 punch right now. Top Toyota, that's the guy that finished second in the regular season standings, and Caden Honeycutt. Then fourth, I got Ty Majeski. Up and down regular season for Ty. He is a past series champion. I think he'll double down with the chase starting soon. Then fifth, Christian Eckes, the top McAnally Higgleman truck, in my opinion, in the 91. Sixth, another Tricon truck, youngster Gio Rogerio in the 17. 7, 8, 9, and 10, all veterans. Grant Infinger in the 9, that's my 7th spot. Ben Rhodes, 99, 2-time past series champ. He's 8th in my power standings. Final 2 guys are the other 2 McAnally Higgleman trucks along with Eckes that are in the playoffs. I got 9th Daniel Hemrick, veteran, past O'Reilly Series champ, and Tyler Ankrum. Guy's been in the series for a long time. Last year, made a Final 4 appearance too. Tyler will sure need to turn things up with the chase starting soon though. Cup Series thoughts for New Hampshire. Do amend NASCAR getting things going on the wet tires with New Hampshire being a track less than a mile. I think that's great. Even with Blaney and Logano winning recently, I mean, I knew Blaney was probably going to be up there, top 5, top 10. Got Toyota of Tyler Reddick winning the pole. But Ryan Blaney gets it done. The end of stage 2, goes on to win the race, back-to-back. New Hampshire wins 2025 and now this season. As I said previously, Team Penske's got some really strong momentum right now. They've won 4 of the last 6 races. Chase is starting, a really good time to heat up, of course. One of the teams I thought would be affected with the win in you're in and the playoff structure changing with no eliminations this season would be Team Penske. But they have proven me wrong. Their 3rd driver, Austin Cindric, is going to make the playoffs too. Blaney and Logano are going to be championship contenders for sure. Moving right along in DWD, some more news from the Truck Series race from New Hampshire. Qualifying did not go the way that Luke Baldwin and Dawson Sutton wanted to go, but they still ran. Frankie Muniz takes the teammate card and says, hey, Luke is a much better short track driver than I. He is going to give us the best finish as an organization. Kudos to Frankie on that. And Rackley Ward, Dawson Sutton has a brake issue in qualifying. Tony Breitinger does qualify for the race. Sutton then takes her spot and runs the race. Regular season schedules have just come out. Let's go over the Truck Series schedule. Really excited for this one. The main meat and bones of the schedule stay the same. Some great additions, of course. Start the season off in Daytona. 3rd race of the year, St. Petersburg. They go back to that one after first time the trucks run that street circuit there. I think that's great. 3rd weekend in May, North Wilkesboro back on the schedule. Love that. Pocono, June 11th. Lime Rock. Surprised to see them go to Lime Rock for a 3rd year in a row. It's a great road course and really runs kind of like a short track of road courses. IRP, great one on the schedule. And one I am super excited about, and I was hoping the Truck Series would get a race, and that's at Bowman Gray. The trucks will run August 20th. And also, trucks go back to another track I'm really looking forward to. Well, trucks be the first time running at Bowman Gray. But the trucks for the final race of the regular season will head to the circuit at Canadian Tire. Excited for that one. And the races for the Truck Series that make up the chase for 2027, New Hampshire, Kansas, Charlotte, Phoenix, Dega, Martinsville, last but not least, Homestead, Miami. Now for this episode's edition of NASCAR History Time. Historic Daytona summer races from years past. July 7th, 1990. After a massive 23-car pileup in the Pepsi 400 thinned the field, Dale Earnhardt took complete control of the race. The Intimidator led 127 of the 160 laps in his famed number 3. The win was Earnhardt's 44th career NASCAR win, and most importantly, his first at Daytona in the Premier Series. July 7th, 2001. Tragedy, of course, had struck in the NASCAR world just 5 months earlier with the death of 7-time champ Dale Earnhardt Sr. in the Daytona 500. His son, Dale Earnhardt Jr., gave the sport an unforgettable moment of healing the next Daytona race that summer. Jr. dominated the race, leading 116 of 160 laps before charging from 6th to 1st on a late restart and holding off teammate Michael Waltrip for an emotional victory. It was Dale Jr.'s first career Cup Series win at Daytona and one that the sport needed for healing. Paint scheme of the week. A car that ran last year in the summer race at Daytona was a throwback to a Richard Petty paint scheme. That was the 43 Dollar Tree paint scheme of Eric Jones. Now for discussions with Dave, part 2. Starting off with the NASCAR Cup Series schedule for 2027, we'll go over this in full detail in episodes leading up to the 2027 season, of course, but here are some of the highlights that I have. We've mentioned the Clash is returning to Daytona February 13th. That's on the schedule. Hyped for that one. 2 off weekends on the schedule. I think that's great. So much traveling and these teams are on it every weekend. Good to get the teams and crews 2 off weekends. Those will occur on March 28th, then again on August 8th. One big topic was where will the All-Star race be held for 2027. Dover does return to a points-paying race. Kudos to that. The All-Star race will return to North Wilkesboro. Really wanted them to have a points-paying race, but it is what it is. At least we'll see Cup racing from there. And another thing I'm super excited about, Cup Series will return to the Naval Base Coronado running August 1st. Daytona does not host the season finale. That will be the next weekend at Darlington. The chase races for 2027 will be Richmond, Watkins Glen, New Hampshire, Kansas, Las Vegas, Charlotte, Phoenix, Talladega, Martinsville, and the championship race at Homestead, Miami. Moving right along in DWD Part 2, some silly season news on the O'Reilly side I was surprised about. Was just announced after 3 seasons with Junior Motorsports. Sammy Smith will not be returning to their number 8 entry. Smith has had an up and down season this year, still hasn't gotten the win he's really sought after, but he's locked into the playoffs, so Junior Motorsports is going to give him a rocket ship, as we know, and he should be contending for a championship, but was surprised that they would be parting. A lot of rumors. Looks like Carson Kvapil would take that seat. We'll find out. Of course, a Cup race in Daytona, you're going to see an uptick in open car entries. There'll be 5 open cars. Joey Gase, Casey Mears, Greg Galding, Corey Heim, Daniel Dye. With 5 open cars, one of them will not make the race, so qualifying is really going to be important to those guys. Casey Mears in the 62 should be there on speed and Same with Corey Heim and Daniel Dye. Think it's going to be a coin flip between Joey Gase and Greg Galding for that final spot. I think Galding gets the final one there. Now my final two topics on DWD Part 2. Who gets the final spots in the chase for the O'Reilly Series and Cup Series? Let's get into it with O'Reilly. O'Reilly takes 12 drivers into the chase. Right now, 8 of them are locked in. Allgaier, Quapple, Creed, Love, Day, Jones, Hill, and Sammy Smith. 4 drivers are not locked in on points, but right now on standings-wise, Parker Retzlaff, Sam Mayer, then William Sawalich, Brett Cruz. William Sawalich and Brett Cruz are each tied for points, and that puts them 18 points below Sam Mayer, who sits in 10th. Then on the outside looking in, Taylor Gray is 1 point behind teammate Brett Cruz, and that puts him on the outside looking in. Then Raja Caruth, who is 14th in the standings. Taylor Gray and Raja Caruth, points-wise, are the only drivers that could get that final spot. And right now, Caruth sits 15 points behind Brett Cruz. Crazy to see the Joe Gibbs teammates, Sawalich, Cruz, and Gray, all bottlenecked right there. My prediction, Taylor Gray is a veteran driver. William Sawalich has been in the series for a couple seasons right now. Brett Cruz, still a youngster. He's really good, though. I think in the end, Raja Caruth in that 88, we saw the 88 car be victorious in Daytona last year. I think Raja can get enough stage points to be comfortable towards the end of that one, and maybe he gets a top 5 finish. I think that will be enough for Raja to get that final spot over Brent Cruz and Taylor Gray. Now, Cup Series side of things. They take 16 drivers into the chase. Right now, 13 of them are locked in. Denny Hamlin, as we mentioned, is your 2026 regular season champ. Then Ryan Blaney, Gibbs, Reddick, Bell, Briscoe, Larson, Elliott, Logano, Buescher, Hocevar, Byron. The last driver, 13th in the standings, locked in mathematically, is Daniel Suarez. Then 3 drivers on the good side right now. That's Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric, and SVG in the 16th and final chase spot. Currently, 31 points behind SVG is Ryan Preece. Then even farther down the line is Brad Keselowski. In my mind, points-wise, a good points day, 40 to 50 points. Mathematically, I believe you can get up to 70 or even 71 points in a race. So Brad Keselowski is still technically, mathematically in there. I just don't think it's a little bit too late for Brad at this point. Ryan Preece, 31 points behind SVG right now. Shane having 2 road course wins on the season right now, but hanging on to 16 in the points. I've been saying the same thing. I really think Shane lost his chase playoff berth when he wrecked out with his teammate Connor Zilisch and Austin Hill in San Diego. I do think Ryan Preece overcomes the 31-point deficit and gets that 16th and final spot. But we'll find out. Daytona is going to be a heck of a race, and Splash of Gas will have boots on the ground in Daytona to bring you all the action. Now for Tire Diaries Daytona. Cup Series teams will be utilizing the same tires that they've ran at this February's Daytona 500, as well as the April race in Talladega. The left side tire compound will be used at the World Center of Racing, same one since 2022, while the right side tire compound debuted in last year's Daytona 500. O'Reilly side of things, Goodyear will introduce a new right side tire for them. This new tire features an updated construction, but no compound change. This will pair with the left side tire that previously ran in Daytona and Talladega earlier this year. Now for the O'Reilly Series drivers to look out for Daytona, starting Sheldon Creed, 00. Carson Quapple, think he's going to be quick. Jesse Love, as well as his teammate Austin Hill are going to be favorites. Always quick on the super speedways and the RCR equipment. Junior Motorsports cars that should be well, along with teammate Quapple, 88 Raja Caruth, Justin Allgaier, and Sammy Smith, 2. As we mentioned, the drivers right in that playoff, Chase, Swalich, Cruz, Raja Caruth, Taylor Gray, all going to be in the mix, I think. Harrison Burton has won at the Cup Series a number of years ago. Think he's going to be quick in that 24 car. Jeb Burton, always a guy to be up front on these plate tracks. Andy Jankowiak, Talladega ARCA winner, running the 39, making his O'Reilly Series debut. Excited for Andy to have the opportunity. Sam Mayer in that 41 should be quick. Jeremy Clements in that 51 from Jeremy Clements Racing. Saw Jeremy won, I think it was 4 years ago, in a late overtime ridden race there. He should be quick. Nick Sanchez in the 87. Sanchez is a really good drafting driver. Great to see Josh Williams in the 92 back on track. And Parker Retzlaff in that 99. We know what he can do in the drafting tracks. Now for the Cup Series drivers, I'll be looking out for Daytona, Tyler Reddick, this year's Daytona 500 champ, should be quick. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., always a guy to maybe place a couple bucks on in these drafting tracks. He should be quick. Ryan Preece in that 60, think he should be up front for fighting for his chase life. Corey Heim in the 67, top independent car in this one, in my opinion. SVG in the 97, along with Preece, really going to be battling for that final playoff spot. Austin Cindric in the 2, saw him win the 500 a number of years ago, and that's same with the number 3 of Austin Dillon. Brad Keselowski in the 6 should be quick, just don't think he's going to be able to get enough points to make the chase though. Daniel Suarez in the 7 should be fast. Same with Denny Hamlin, 12 of Ryan Blaney. William Byron, 2-time 500 champ. Austin Hill should be a quick one too. Now for Fast Davies bets. O'Reilly Series, think the news with Sammy Smith leaving is going to light a fire underneath him. Top 5 for Sammy. Cup Series, a parlay. Austin Hill, Corey Heim, each of them parlay for a top 10. Now for trivia answer time. This episode's question is, for a long time, the Cup Series ran the second Daytona race on July 4th weekend. NASCAR did not start off racing at Daytona on July 4th weekend. What track hosted the first time NASCAR ran on July 4th? That was Shangri-La Speedway in Oswego, New York, July 4th, 1952. Now for our predictions for Daytona, starting with O'Reilly Series. I think I predicted him to win the first O'Reilly race of the year, and he did just that. Give me Austin Hill again to win O'Reilly Series in Daytona. Now for the Cup Series. As we know, any of these races at the super speedways, Daytona, Atlanta, Talladega, really can be a crapshoot at the end. One of these guys has taken his licks in Daytona, as we know. And right now, he's 31 points out of making the chase. He started the year winning the Clash. That's Ryan Preece in the 6-0. Give me Ryan Preece to go to victory lane and get that final spot over SVG in the chase. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at disneydavw@verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. As mentioned, we'll be in Daytona covering the O'Reilly and Cup Series races as the regular season closes. Really excited for the chase and even more excited to be back in Daytona. Always a good one with good friends and good people. We'll keep you updated. Please check out all the social medias. We'll be keeping you up to date with all the content. Till next time, everybody, splash of gas out.